Most purpose-driven entrepreneurs already have the wisdom, the insight, and the ability to help people in powerful ways, but their work still isn't supporting them financially. If you feel called to do meaningful work in the world, but that work isn't creating the income that you hoped it would, you're not alone. It's something many purpose-driven creators quietly struggle with. But here's the surprising part. The reason that your work isn't supporting you financially has nothing to do with your purpose, your passion, or even your ability to help other people. And after reading The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks for the third time, I realized something really important. Most purpose-driven entrepreneurs are already living in their zone of genius. They've just never built the structure that allows that genius to become a business. And your offer is the doorway between your purpose and your profit. In this video, I want to show you the hidden gap that keeps so many purpose-driven creators stuck between these two worlds. And once you see this gap, you won't be able to unsee it. By the way, if we haven't met before, my name is Andrea Arena, and this is something that I see all the time with entrepreneurs that I work with. Purpose-driven creators who know their work can change lives, but who haven't yet turned that calling into a business that supports them generously. There is a place where your natural gifts, your deepest joy, and your greatest contribution intersect. Gay Hendricks calls this your zone of genius. After reading this book again, I had to ask myself this one powerful question. What would you do if you really knew that you couldn't fail? It's a powerful question and one I invite you to ask. And it's the question that has been on my mind all week. Every time I read this book, I do seem to be standing at what feels like the edge of a giant leap. But when I look back, something interesting happens. It was never really a giant leap at all. It only felt that way in the moment because I was standing at one point on the map and I really wanted to be at another. And the distance between these 2 points, sometimes it just feels enormous. But the truth is, we're always moving across that map. And every day we are creating the reality that we live in. And that intersection, that one where we stand, the one that sometimes feels so big and so scary, is actually pointing us towards something that we deeply desire, to live in our zone of genius. But here's the realization that I had to come to. There's a missing step between the zone of genius and financial freedom. And many purpose-driven entrepreneurs, they are already deeply living in their genius. They have the insight, they have the wisdom, they already have the ability to help people in profound ways, and they are. But they are still struggling financially. And it's not because their work isn't valuable. It's because they haven't yet built the structure that allows their genius to be exchanged for value in the marketplace. Think of genius like this. Think of it like this. Genius is the signal and business is the amplifier. Without the amplifier, the signal can still be powerful, but far fewer people hear it. Your business, it's not separate from your purpose. It's an expression of that purpose. One beautiful way that your soul seeks expression in the world. But many purpose-driven creators get stuck here, caught between the work that they deeply feel called to create and the business structure that allows that work to reach the world. They create content, they post, they help people endlessly, giving themselves away, and they work incredibly hard. But the income doesn't reflect the impact, because their genius has never been structured into an offer that people can actually buy. And purpose only becomes profit when that genius is structured into not just an offer, but a premium offer, because your offer is the doorway that people walk through. And your purpose is not separate from your high-ticket offer. Someone isn't buying your coaching business. They're buying a program, a course, an intensive, but they're buying a transformation. Without your offer, your work stays in the realm of ideas, of inspiration and content, helping people informally. An offer creates structure around the transformation. And that's the moment when the work you feel called to do begins to support your life financially. Your offer is the bridge between your zone of genius and your business. Until you have a clear offer, your genius stays invisible in the marketplace. This is exactly the work I do with entrepreneurs inside From Purpose to Profit, helping purpose-driven creators take the wisdom and the transformation that they already carry and structure it into a premium $10,000 offer that creates both impact and income. Because meaningful work in the world should not require financial struggle. Many people in the personal transformation space, they shrink when I say $10,000 offer, but a high ticket offer, it can change everything. Instead of needing thousands of followers or constant content, endless launches, you can build a sustainable business with just a small number of deeply committed clients. This is why high ticket offers are so powerful for purpose-driven entrepreneurs. They allow you to work deeply with fewer people, deliver real transformation in less time, and earn meaningful income. High ticket offers, they usually deliver real transformation and not just information. Low ticket offers, they usually sell things like knowledge, information, frameworks, content. High ticket offers sell change, and they collapse timelines. Instead of taking 3 years doing the work alone, a high ticket offer is the chance of a life-changing transformation. But instead of expanding into this place where your zone of genius meets financial freedom, something else often happens. You hit what Hendricks calls the upper limit problem. An upper limit is the unconscious ceiling we place on just how good our lives are allowed to become. And when life begins to exceed that internal limit, we unconsciously create problems that bring us back down to what feels familiar. We procrastinate, we create stress, we create conflict, anything that keeps us safely inside the zone that we've grown comfortable in, even if it's the zone of excellence. Most people live inside one of these 4 zones. Let me go over them now if you don't remember them. We have the zone of incompetence. These are things that drain us. We don't like this zone. The zone of competence. These are all things that we can do, but so can a lot of other people. We have the zone of excellence, and this is where we shine, where we are rewarded, and where it's I'd say most successful people live here. But it's also where people get stuck, because beyond excellence lies something even grander. It's called the zone of genius. This is where you get to do the work you love the most, the work that you're uniquely wired to do. And because of that, it creates the greatest impact. People reach their zone of excellence, though, and they build an entire life here, and it can be a great life. But the most extraordinary lives, they're built in your zone of genius. I also believe that there is another step beyond the zone of genius, and if you've made it this far, I'm going to share it with you now. When I write about superflow consciousness, I'm exploring what happens when genius stops being something that you occasionally access and it becomes a continuous channel of your expression, when your life becomes structured around your genius because you have become the genius, that which you always were, but simply didn't know yet. I call this the zone of expression, where your work, your contribution, and your identity are aligned, where you simply are the expression of all that you came here to be. So let me bring this back to the question. What would you do if you truly knew that you could not fail? Would you write that book? Would you start that business? Would you join that coaching program? Would you share your message, stepping fully into the life that you know you're meant to live? At the end of the day, consciousness is simply knowing that you have a choice. And we are all always making one, whether you know it or not, between what's familiar and what's possible, between ordinary and beyond extraordinary. So I'll leave you with the same question. What are you choosing?